Hello world, it's Godzilla with you
once again.
I hope you guys are doing well. So there's a lot of big announcements and events around Godzilla vs. Kong and the MonsterVerse. The biggest one that has been announced is that Godzilla vs. Kong has been pushed back to May 2021. But there's also a lot of other news to cover, including the recent classification rating from the MPAA, some comics that were announced. There's a lot to cover and kind of for me to give my opinion on over what's been kind of unveiled over the past few weeks. And I'm going to get into that in this vlog, so hope you guys enjoy it. Stay tuned.
Surging up from the depths of the sea on a tidal wave of terror to wreak vengeance on mankind. A gigantic beast, cavalcade of electrifying horror.
Adam Wingard announced himself on Instagram that Godzilla vs. Kong is going to be pushed back to May 2021. It's through the official Adam Wingard Instagram account. Legendary reposted it, so this is kind of the official statement. I'm sure that we'll get more of an official press release statement, but for now this is kind of what we're going off. And the movie studio itself reposted what he posted, so it's pretty much official. And a bunch of other films are getting pushed back too, like The Matrix 4, which was pushed back from May 2021 to April of 2022. So theaters are barely starting to open in most countries at this point. And there's only one really big launch, which is, I believe, Christopher Nolan's Tenet, that's supposed to come out in July, but we don't know how many theaters are going to be open by then. To be honest, I think that's for the best. I think since there were already a lot of delays that pushed a lot of movies into November, those were just going to compete with Godzilla vs. Kong. So Godzilla vs. Kong moving to May of next year, I think is okay. Listen, the MonsterVerse has had itself plenty of delays with this whole thing that is affecting the entire industry. This isn't just Godzilla vs. Kong. There's so many movies that have been pushed back, whole productions that are, I believe, now slowly starting to come back. I mean, they're now starting to be able to make movies again. And I know it sucks. We've been waiting for this film for a very long time now, it feels, because it's supposed to come out in March, it got pushed back to November, and now it's finally coming out in May. Fingers crossed it comes out in May. I see, you know, there's a lot how video game fans deal with this all the time. I mean, stuff gets delayed and pushed back. It'll be here before you know it, so just hold tight. And hopefully this just means that it'll be a fantastic film. And I can't wait for a trailer to actually drop. Now, when will we get a trailer? Oof, I don't know, because now it's not coming out for another year, so maybe this virtual Comic-Con thing in July might be a good time for them to share it, and maybe sometime in the fall for sure we'll get a trailer. But just before this was announced, Godzilla vs. Kong had actually gotten rating and classification by the MPA, Motion Picture Association of America. So this is for America, but it got a PG-13 rating in the US for some apparently gruesome violence, as some are saying. I'm gonna guess that it's probably gonna get the same rating around the world, somewhere around like 13 to 15. They want this to be a big summer blockbuster movie, but there is gonna be violence and action in it, I would assume. So some people are kind of saying, is this gonna be kind of a very gritty, gory monster film? And from what I hear, I mean, it's supposed to have maybe, I feel like a darker tone to the film. So, and there's supposed to be a clear winner, right? That's what Adam Wingard said. With the PG-13 rating, I'm not surprised. I didn't expect R for sure, because then they would really be losing a whole chunk of their audience. King of the Monsters also had quite a bit of violence. Actually, quite a few of these films. I mean, the Muto getting the kiss of death, the other flying Muto getting impaled, King Ghidorah getting his head ripped off and then getting consumed by Godzilla at the end. I mean, there's quite a bit of gruesome violence already in these films. I do expect a bit of violence and action in this film, but I don't think it's going to be super gory or something like that. The other big thing that was announced before, a new synopsis, basically kind of saying that this film is going to be about like different factions trying to use the Titans. Something is drawing Kong and Godzilla to Skull Island. This still doesn't tell us that much, but it's beginning to kind of reveal more of the storyline. The eco-terrorists having their hands on King Ghidorah's head. So they're probably going to come back, and maybe they want to use the Titans again to attack humanity. And maybe there's another faction that wants to use the Titans to serve their own personal needs. You know, we could possibly be looking at some kind of human villain again. Now, where Godzilla and Kong fit in this, and then other Titans in the film, and what's going on Skull Island, we don't know yet. The film premise before also promised to tell us the origins of the Titans as well. Maybe they mean to go into how they interacted with humanity in the ancient times. and kind of explore some stuff that was kind of explored in King of the Monsters with that ancient city where Godzilla was resting. That's something I think I'm more interested in anything else. If we really go into something that explores, the ancient lore, and I think that's the MonsterVerse's most interesting element that they've been kind of hinting at in every film, especially King of the Monsters and a bit in Kong Skull Island. But I think this is a more interesting side of the MonsterVerse. Like if there's some kind of ancient enemy or something underneath the earth that the Titans kind of help put away, kind of like King Ghidorah. But this one comes from the earth, so this could be Gigan or Biollante or something like that. But again, the movie is called Godzilla vs. Kong, so like, is it Kong and Godzilla teaming up to fight something, or is there some kind of new villain coming in that they have to team up against? Which I'm still excited, and I think the new premise shines a little bit more light, but it doesn't spoil too much. But I don't want to get too deep into it personally. I think I already kind of did. I just let the trailer speak for itself to kind of tell us where the storylines are going to go. And then the last kind of big thing, some new prequel comics for Godzilla vs. Kong were unveiled a few weeks ago that kind of tell the story, like especially what Kong's been doing up until this film. And also they revealed a new Titan, Kazmatat, I believe it's called. It's like a big bat monster thing. I think that was already kind of revealed before, but now we finally get our first official look at it. I don't know, personally, I've kind of like skipped a lot of the MonsterVerse comics ever since Godzilla Awakening. I think I've kind of already commented. Godzilla Awakening was a bit meh, and I was always very critical of the art style, didn't really like it. And honestly, a lot of it doesn't even feel like it's canon anymore, or not really sure. And I think a lot of people have commented on what Godzilla Awakening, if it's supposed to be canon or something. It is cool because it's like the Corey Brooks character from Kong Skull Island, who also briefly appeared in King of the Monsters, is featured in those comics. So if you care about his character, I feel like if you care about the Monarch characters, the comics are great. But if you want to learn more about the lore of the Titans, I feel like the comics should include more. And it's a cool place to put like new Titans and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like I need a little something more. Because like the IDW comics were interesting, were different. Godzilla in Hell, Godzilla Cataclysm, Godzilla Legends, Rulers of Earth, Rage Across Time. They could do whatever they want, and they could do these really cool, interesting stories. And like I want to know the story of when King Ghidorah first crashed Earth, and what that was like. Or when Mothra, like the ancient Mothra that was around, I want to know those stories. I don't know, I feel like they could do more with the comics. I still think it's cool for fans who want to get more excited about the film and give us some more lore. Also, it's cool to kind of explain what Kong's been up to this whole time, because between Skull Island and King of the Monsters, it's been like 40 years and we're like, where's Kong? So before Godzilla vs. Kong comes out, we have kind of an idea of what Kong's been up to, probably what he looks like, how he's been kind of training to get into the fight with Godzilla. For those of you who go out and read it, and maybe if I hear it's good enough, I may get my hands on the comics just to check it out. But there's also those Ultraman comics coming out from Marvel later this year, so I'm gonna have to kind of pick and choose. Overall, that's kind of the big slice of updates for Godzilla vs. Kong. The biggest one, of course, is the announcement about the release date, and I think it makes sense. Like I'd said at the beginning of this video that I think it's for the best. I think everything's been delayed, so this is just a reality. And I think it's going to be better. They can really push the marketing now instead of like rushing it. They can start slowly putting out the marketing for it. And by the time May rolls around, we'll be all ready to support this film. We already have prequel comics being announced and everything, so they're already starting to get that running. And then by the time, we've got figures coming out. I guess the one last announcement would be that NECA has unveiled a classic 1933 King Kong figure that's supposed to come out in fall. So that was probably timed to come out with this film, but it's still good timing. It means that NECA has their hands on the Kong license. It means they'll probably also make figures for Godzilla vs. Kong, but those will come out more like in 2021. So at least this year we will get a NECA Kong figure, and obviously we have the two new NECA Godzilla figures that are supposed to come out. I believe it was June, but looking like it's more like July, and I definitely am looking forward to getting my hands on one of those for sure. So there is that small bit of news, at least with figures. And yeah, so I would say, just stay tuned. Maybe Virtual Comic Con will have a trailer, but you know what, we'll just have to wait a little longer, everyone, but we're gonna get through it. Anyway, if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.